Hello and welcome to News 9 Live, and I'm your host Deepak, and today we will be discussing about whether the pandemic-induced education system has resulted in regression of learning in the students or not. But before we deep dive into this topic, let me give you a backdrop of what's happening in the country and what happened in these last 1.5 years. So it would not be an overreach to say that in India, like in many parts of the world, it is the children who were the first victims of the pandemic. As cases began to rise in the second week of March 2020, schools were the first to close down. 1.5 years later in India, students continue to be confined to online schooling while many have even dropped out altogether. And this comes in the backdrop of offices and commercial establishments opening up while educational institutions have continued to remain shut. Even UNESCO has said that the duration of school closures in India has been among the longest in the world. And while there is already so much happening in this sector, another talking point here is the Parliamentary Standing Committee's submission on online classes. So what has the Standing Committee said? Number one, the committee has opined that online education is not the real education. The second point is that the system of learning has affected 24 crore students, which includes 12 crore who belong to classes 1 to 5 and 6 crores each from classes 6 to 8, 9 to 12. And the third point that was highlighted by the Standing Committee was the fact that rural areas which continue to lack digital facilities, which is indeed a huge divide. And the last point is that the pandemic has resulted in loss of learning. So what's the way forward? Now to discuss this, we have with us educationist and author Virendra Kapoor, Ms. Caroline Vaz, the principal of Green Lawn School from Maharashtra, and Ms. Namita Sharma, the principal of Queens Valley School in New Delhi. Many thanks for joining us in this discussion. And today's biggest question is that has the pandemic actually resulted in loss of learning? First, I'll go over to Mr. Virendra Kapoor, who is an author. So, Mr. Kapoor, what's your opinion on this question? What do you feel about it?
As the standing committees also said, that, distance learning or this digital learning is not the actual learning. That's fine.
Okay.
But I would like to, say that जो होता है वो अच्छे के लिए होता है. Amitabh Bachchan once he said about his dad, he says he was saying that he would always say that जो मन का वो अच्छा और जो मन का नहीं वो और भी अच्छा. Can you hear me, Deepak?
Yeah. You're audible. Please go on.
So what I am saying is that, I should like to see this as glass 3/4 full. Whatever we learned, like there was a digital hesitancy, like there's a vaccine hesitancy. So there was, now just assume that there was no pandemic. All right.
Correct.
2016, if you say that, all right, kids and teachers start teaching on the digital platforms, do you think they would have done it? See, we have struggled for 10 minutes to get into connections, all four of us. And the other day, when the Prime Minister was addressing the United Nations Security Council, even the heads of states, they were finding it difficult to handle their laptops or whatever they were, and equipment. So what I'm saying is, we have learned a lot. The teachers have learned how to deliver digitally. Kids have got used to it now. So I think we should not lose this. So look at this as a gain. And because, another thing is that digital thing is coming very fast. Now, it's a Digital India is a mission India from the Prime Minister. And I think as we are moving, this should not be wasted out.
Correct.
Take this as a advantage that we've got, that we've started using digital. Otherwise, 3-4 years ago, who was using digital? Nobody, except for the corporates. So कुछ सीखा तो सही हमने.
Correct.
So that is one part.
Okay.
And yes, loss, I totally agree, but I think these principals from these schools can tell you more, because I've also written books for school kids. So I know how difficult it is to reach out to them. And I'll just show very quickly, this is a book which I wrote.
Okay.
2020 Planet Reborn.
All right.
So this doesn't talk about this education, but generally how it has impacted our life. Okay, I've done. Anyone?
So, Ms. Namita Sharma, now I have a question for you. So, there's a transitional shift in the way students are learning right now from, going to school or even colleges. Now, students are confined to their homes. Do you think that this sort of gives them, the leniency that they usually didn't get in classes, and they could, get away with homework and even academic stuff, because you can't monitor literally every student in the house, and this, if they do, will obviously result in regressive learning. So what do you have to say about that?
I differ in my opinion. I differ on what you said because see, initially, yes, you could have said what the question poses, but over the last 1 year, I think monitoring has become easier.
Okay.
Monitoring during the classroom was a little more difficult. Reason being, with 40 students there, and we all know how we have been when we were in school, slip out with our homework or not submitting it, or maybe pulling out our notebook or so. Now there's no scope for doing all that. Now what happens is your submissions have to be digital. They are totally monitored by the software. So, and then earlier parents were never a part of this entire teaching system. Now there's a triangle in which the child is working. The virtual system, the teachers,
Okay.
and the parents. Parents are paying more attention. They sit through the sessions. They sit with their children. They are participating in their teaching process. Earlier, the complaint that we teachers would always have would be that parents do not pay attention to their children. But now there's all the attention that is required because most of the parents are also working from home. So they know what is happening. They have the screen in front of them. And of course, see, the flip side always moves. But I think it has not been that tough because it is easy to monitor now.
Okay, Miss Caroline Vaz, now you're the principal of a school and you have very close interaction with your staff and also the students. So now that the Parliamentary Standing Committee has said that there is regressive learning, how do schools cope with this? What are the future plans of schools when it comes to this particular opinion of the Standing Committee? What will schools do to get rid of this entire debate on whether children are studying or not?
Well, according to me, what I feel, a teacher is not just a sage on the stage. A teacher is more a guide by the child's side. And there's nothing that can take the place of a teacher. Today, children believe in I hear, I forget. I see, I remember. I do, I understand. So for me, it's very important to have a hands-on learning experience. No matter how much of online we give a child, okay, the child is going through a lot of behavioral problems. The child is going through a lot of loneliness because they're not interacting with their friends. They're not meeting their teachers. They're not able to discuss with their teachers if they have a problem. Sometimes, what happens is they are in small homes. So they have their family people around them watching them while the online class is going on. They're very conscious. So it's so important that we reopen schools. I do understand that the third wave is on and it is also dangerous. But I feel that what the child requires is to come back to school. The child needs a lot of personal care. And sometimes it's not possible at home.
That's so true.
And for the teacher also online, it's not possible to see the child, whether the child is able to do all the activities or no that has been given to them.
Correct. So now, Mr. Virendra Sharma, I would like to come to you. There's a question that popped up in my head, whether online education will result in cognitive problems in students or not. What do you have to say about that?
Are you asking me, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Deepak, I'll tell you. See, I have been in education for a long time, but in higher education. But I would say that schools are 25% is education, 75% is behavior management. That means how you deal with people. You're dealing with bullies. You are dealing with, somebody, taking away your pen or copy or something like that. So dealing with people is what is the most important. Because if that was not important, then all the people who are very rich, they could have done tutors at home. Why are the why every one is sending their kids to school? Because school is a learning environment. It's not only physics, chemistry, maths, or English. It's more about dealing with people, teamwork, managing different type of people, your behavior, what is known as emotional intelligence that we talk about. All right.
Okay.
So schools, there is no shortcut. But my suggestion would be that whatever we have learned, we should not lose it. So as we go forward, maybe 6 months, 1 year down the line, we'll come back to normal. I'm sure of that. It is not going to remain forever. But whatever you have gained in these last 2 years, the digital literacy and handling the digital hesitancy, that has gone away. My recommendation would be, or the request would be,
Okay.
that we have that 80-20 principle. That means 80% could be the schools, 20% could be online. So don't break it.
Okay.
Whatever you gained, because once you stop it, it's gone.
That's so true. So now that brings us to our
It could be
last-
it could be 80-20, it could be 90-10, depending on the availability of bandwidth and electricity, and
Okay.
because India is a huge country.
Correct.
Rural, you have a problem. But let me tell you, there is a digital divide of the other way around. I don't know whether most of you know it, because I was handling telecom management with Symbiosis.
Okay.
So we used to do a seminar called Digital Divide. That means the divide used to be that bandwidth was being consumed much more in the metros and big cities, and rural divide was there. But now ये उल्टा हो गया है.
That's so true.
Abhi, 6 months back, I think there was a report in Economic Times which said that today rural is consuming more data than urban. So ये change होता जाएगा. So we should not lose. So my request is that we should have either 20% doubts could be cleared. You can have one day only digital, for
Correct.
example. And these modalities can be worked out. I don't know how it can be done, but 20%, let's say a child spends 100 hours, just as an example,
Okay.
out of which 20 hours to हमको digital करना ही करना है.
So sir, now
Or 80,
there
80
is a
hours you
digital
can have in the
divide,
schools.
and we know that not everybody have access to technology these days, especially the students in rural India. But so going forward, what is the answer to this problem? Miss
No,
Caroline Vaz, let's take your
No,
opinion
no,
first
but
on this.
this will get sorted out. Don't worry. This will get sorted out.
Miss
Because,
Caroline Vaz,
you-
please, could you give us your opinion on this particular question?
I do agree to what Sir has just said. It's a very, it's a very good thing that this has taught us in this pandemic about going digital. But
Okay.
what happens in rural areas is just not feasible. Okay, they don't have the Wi-Fi there. Some of them don't even have electricity in the rural areas. Leave aside the technical aspect. But I think the government should come in here. The government should provide some kind of financial aid to families to overcome the cost of attending schools. Okay, maybe even some big corporates could come in, they could adopt a village, they could sponsor some financial aid, maybe sponsor laptops, sponsor telephones, mobile phones. So I think the community plays a very important role in helping post-pandemic.
And Ms. Namita Sharma, what do you have to say? What is the way forward? Are bridge courses the answer to this problem? What do you feel?
Some cases, yes. On a very broad level, yes, bridge courses would help. But otherwise, if we speak because see, you as an individual are different, I am different, everybody, each one of us. So the gaps which are there for each one of us are of a different level. Hence, once they start coming back to school, that is when this thing can be addressed. Initially, we were worried that how would we manage, because there's so much of curriculum, there'll be behavioral management, and there'll be so many other problems which kids would come with. But then we realized that over the last 2 years, the digitization on which we have built our total academic system is providing that back-end support, wherein covering the curriculum or bridging those learning gaps would be easy. And we'll be able to handle individual systems and individual things easily because we would have the time for it. Initially, it was all at a very physical and an offline level. But now, as Sir said, that we should not let it go. So we would let it run parallel to our system. So that would give us that extra time and that extra space to attend to each one of those learning gaps.
That is so true.
We'll be able to manage it. We'll be able to do it.
Thank you, Mr. Virendra Kapoor. I'm really sorry for joining us on this discussion. Thank you, Ms. Caroline Vaz, and also Ms. Namita Sharma for those wonderful insights on this particular topic. There is no definitive answer whether online education is leading to regressive learning or not, because it has a mix of both worlds. It has advantages and disadvantages. What the experts feel is that both the systems should run side by side, and the government and the community will have to play an active role in trying to bridge the gap to cover the loopholes in our education system, the new education system, which is the online mode of education. And by doing so, we can probably get answers to this particular question. Let's also toss a question to our viewers. What do you think? Is online education leading to regressive learning in children? Please do leave your opinions in the comment section below. And also do not forget to like, share and subscribe to News 9 Live on various social media platforms. Thank you for watching and have a great day.